Welcome to this remarkable story. What you're about to hear isn't just history, it's a lesson, a transformation, and a warning written in real life. This is the story of a boy who had everything: wealth, respect, and comfort, yet walked a path that would make the world tremble. He wasn't born in a battlefield or a broken home. He was born surrounded by marble floors, servants, and silence. His name was Osama bin Laden, and his story began in 1957 in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. His father, Mohammed bin Awad bin Laden, was one of the richest men in the kingdom, a construction magnate trusted by the Saudi royal family. The bin Laden family wasn't royal, but they lived like they were: palaces, private cars, personal chefs, endless wealth. Yet inside that luxury, Osama was different. He was quiet, serious, polite, almost withdrawn. He wasn't loud or reckless like other sons of privilege. He studied at Al Model School in Jeddah, one of the best schools for the elite. While most boys played football or watched TV, Osama read the Quran. He memorized verses. He asked deep questions. He thought about life's purpose. Teachers said he rarely joked, rarely smiled. He believed life should be about something greater than comfort, and though he was peaceful, he carried a growing conviction that faith must be protected even through struggle. When he turned 17, the world around him began to change. In 1979, the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan. For millions of Muslims, it felt like an attack on their faith and their brothers. For Osama, it became a turning point. He decided to act. He left behind the air-conditioned palaces, the servants, the safe life, and went to Afghanistan. There he joined the Mujahideen, fighters resisting the Soviet forces. At first, Osama was no soldier. He was slim, soft-spoken, and untrained. But he had two powerful weapons: money and belief. He used his wealth to build camps, buy weapons, and fund fighters. And with time, he gained respect and influence. The quiet boy from Jeddah was transforming into a commander, a financier, and soon a believer in a global cause. By the time the Soviets were pushed out, with help from America, Pakistan, and others, Osama witnessed something dangerous: victory. He began to believe that even a small group of devoted men could defeat a superpower, and that belief would one day shake the world. But when one war ended, another began, not on a battlefield, but inside Osama's mind. Because for him, Afghanistan wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. We'll uncover how a fighter became a founder and how Al-Qaeda, the base of global terror, was born. By 1989, the Soviets were gone from Afghanistan. The Mujahideen had won, and most fighters returned home. But Osama bin Laden didn't. For him, the battle wasn't over. He believed there was a greater enemy still standing: the United States. Why America? Because after the Gulf War, American troops were stationed in Saudi Arabia, Osama's homeland. To him, that was unacceptable. Non-Muslim soldiers on what he saw as sacred land, the birthplace of Islam. He began to preach that Muslim leaders had become corrupt, following Western ways, and if governments wouldn't protect Islam, then he would. In 1988, Osama created a new organization, Al-Qaeda, meaning the base. It started small, a network to train and connect fighters across borders. But Osama had vision. He wanted a global army, Muslims united by ideology, not nationality. He built training camps in Sudan and Afghanistan, teaching combat, bomb-making, and propaganda. He wasn't just a soldier anymore. He was a teacher of extremism. Then came the first attacks linked to Al-Qaeda. 1992, a bombing in Yemen targeting U.S. troops. 1993, the first World Trade Center bombing. 1998, the U.S. Embassy bombings in Kenya and Tanzania, killing over 200 people. 2000, the attack on the USS Cole in Yemen, killing 17 American sailors. Each act drew more attention and more followers. By the late 1990s, Osama was releasing video messages declaring America the enemy of Islam. He spoke calmly, almost like a teacher, and that calmness made his message even more dangerous. When the U.S. tried to bomb his bases in 1998, he survived. And deep in the Afghan mountains, he began to plan something that would change the course of modern history, a plan that would make the world stop. He had his men, he had his money. Now he had a plan, one that would send shock waves across the globe. Next, we relived the morning when the world changed forever. September 11th, 2001. It was Tuesday, September 11th, 2001. A clear, quiet morning in the United States. Commuters were heading to work, children to school. Then at 8:46 a.m., everything changed. American Airlines Flight 11 crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. 17 minutes later, a second plane, United Airlines Flight 175, struck the South Tower, live on television. At that moment, the world realized this was no accident. This was war. At 9:37 a.m., another plane hit the Pentagon, the center of U.S. military power. At 10:03 a.m., passengers on Flight 93 fought back, forcing their hijacked plane to crash in a field in Pennsylvania, preventing another target from being destroyed. By 10:28 a.m., both towers had collapsed. New York was covered in smoke and ash. Nearly 3,000 innocent people were killed that day from more than 90 countries. As the world wept, Osama bin Laden celebrated in hiding. Soon after, a video emerged. Osama smiling, describing how the towers fell. Better than expected. It was the confirmation the world feared. America responded with a vow. President George W. Bush said, "We will make no distinction between the terrorists who committed these acts and those who harbor them." And within a month, the U.S. invaded Afghanistan, beginning the war on terror. But Osama was gone, deep in the mountains, invisible. And for the next 10 years, the world would hunt for him. The most wanted man on earth had vanished, but every ghost leaves a trail. We'll follow that trail through a decade of secrecy, technology, and the mission that finally found him. Part 4. The Night They Found Him. For nearly 10 years, Osama bin Laden remained hidden. He used no phones, no internet, and trusted only a few loyal couriers. But in 2010, the CIA found something. A man named Abu Ahmed al-Kuwaiti, one of Osama's messengers. They tracked him to a mysterious compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan, a city filled with military officers, not militants. The house was surrounded by high walls, barbed wire, no internet, no phone lines. It looked more like a fortress than a home. U.S. surveillance soon noticed a tall man walking on the balcony, always alone. Could it be him? President Barack Obama was briefed. The answer wasn't certain, but the risk was worth it. He approved a mission so secret that even Pakistan wasn't told. Operation Neptune Spear. On May 1, 2011, two stealth helicopters carrying SEAL Team 6 crossed into Pakistani airspace. In the darkness, one helicopter crashed inside the compound. But no one was hurt. The mission continued. Room by room, the soldiers moved fast. On the third floor, they found a tall man hiding behind his wife. 2 shots, and it was over. Osama bin Laden was dead. The team collected hard drives, documents, and his body. Within hours, President Obama received the message. Geronimo EKIA, enemy killed in action. Osama's body was buried at sea within 24 hours, ensuring no grave could ever become a shrine. The world cheered, but the story didn't end that night, because what they found inside that house revealed secrets no one expected. Next, we uncover what Osama left behind, and the truth about his final years. After the raid, the CIA analyzed everything taken from the compound. Computers, flash drives, journals, letters. What they discovered was shocking. Even in hiding, Osama was still leading. He sent handwritten messages to al-Qaeda branches in Yemen, Iraq, Africa, and beyond. He gave orders, criticized attacks that killed too many Muslims, and even discussed rebranding al-Qaeda's image. He feared technology, refused phones, internet, even television. Every message was delivered by hand through loyal couriers. Inside the compound, his family lived in silence. His wives and children had never left the walls. To them, the world outside barely existed. When the truth came out, one question haunted the world. How did Osama live for years in a city full of military officers without being noticed? Some said he was protected. Others said it was pure negligence. No one truly knows. After his death, terrorism didn't disappear. New groups rose: ISIS, Boko Haram, and many others, inspired by the same twisted ideology. Osama bin Laden was gone, but his message had spread like a shadow across continents. His story is not one to glorify, but to understand, because it shows how faith without wisdom can turn into fanaticism, and how belief, when blinded by hate, can destroy nations. Osama bin Laden was born into privilege. He could have built, educated, and inspired. Instead, he chose anger, destruction, and death for others and ultimately for himself. In the end, he didn't die as a hero. He died alone in a dark room, hiding behind fear. No country claimed him. No cause saved him. Only silence remained. This story isn't told to glorify or condemn a faith, but to understand how belief can shape history. Because the moment we stop learning from stories like this, we risk repeating them. This video was created for educational and informational purposes only, based on public records and verified historical sources. Our mission is to help you learn, think, and improve your English through stories that change the world. So, what's the real lesson? Power can shape destiny, but unchecked belief can destroy it.